All right, get ready to dive deep into The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, it's such a classic.
It is, and we're going to be going through excerpts from the book and talking about chapters and characters.
Really exploring this world.
Yeah, and not just like, summarizing it or anything like that. We're going for those deeper cuts,
Yeah.
those kind of hidden things.
The little gems.
Yeah, the philosophical nuggets, the funny things, the things that make you think and make you laugh that Douglas Adams tucked away in there.
It's amazing how he uses humor to really discuss some big ideas.
Oh yeah, life in the universe and everything.
Everything, exactly.
Well, and it all starts right away with the destruction of the Earth.
Right off the bat, just throws you right into it.
Yeah.
The Earth is demolished to make way for a hyperspace bypass.
Can you imagine that? I mean, like, your whole planet just gone like that.
Just collateral damage.
Yeah, like finding out, your house is being bulldozed for a new freeway, but it's a planet.
Exactly. And it really makes you think about, how important we think we are.
All of a sudden, we're not so important.
Not so much.
And in the middle of all this, we have Arthur Dent.
Oh, yeah, good old Arthur's just a normal guy.
Just a normal guy, and his friend Ford Prefect.
Ford Prefect, who turns out to be not actually from Guildford after all.
I know that's right. He's an alien.
An alien researcher working on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
The guide itself is like his own character.
Oh, it really is.
It's so witty and useful. I mean, if you're going to be traveling the galaxy,
Oh, a resource.
what would you take?
Oh, well, apart from a towel.
Of course, the guide says that's the most important thing.
Most important thing you can have.
Absolutely. But besides that, what else would you bring?
You know what? I'd bring a sense of humor.
Oh, for sure. You gotta have that.
I think you're going to need it.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you end up on a Vogon spaceship.
Oh, the Vogons.
Not known for their hospitality.
I think they're maybe the most unpleasant beings in the entire galaxy.
Really?
Just bad-tempered sticklers for the rules, and their poetry is just terrible.
Oh, I've heard about Vogon poetry. How bad is it?
Imagine, the worst poetry reading you've ever been to.
Okay.
But multiply that by, a 1,000, and you're forced to listen to it forever.
So how do Arthur and Ford even survive on this ship?
Well, even Vogons have weaknesses.
Okay.
And Ford, being pretty resourceful, he takes advantage of the Vogons' reliance on Dentrassi cooks.
Dentrassi cooks.
Yeah, they're like the rock stars of the culinary world.
Oh.
They're known for their amazing food,
Mm-hmm.
but also they love to prank the Vogons.
No way!
Oh, yeah. There's this story about how they once snuck a dish onto a Vogon captain's plate that was entirely jalapenos.
That's great.
And it caused this huge intergalactic incident.
Oh, man, they sound like fun.
Yeah, they do.
So, okay, back to Arthur and Ford. Their adventure gets even crazier when they run into Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Zaphod Beeblebrox, what a character.
And Trillium on this stolen ship called the Heart of Gold.
The Heart of Gold.
So you've got this two-headed, three-armed president of the galaxy.
And he's on a quest to find this legendary planet.
This planet is called Magrathea, and this is where they make custom-made planets.
Custom-made planets, you can order your own planet.
And Trillian, well, Arthur knew her back on Earth. She was Trisha McMillan back then.
It's like, how does Adams come up with these connections?
I know, it's just so crazy and so unexpected.
These improbable connections, just a chaotic universe, bringing these characters together.
Oh, yeah, speaking of improbable.
We can't forget the Heart of Gold's engine.
Oh, yeah.
The improbability drive.
Yeah, the improbability drive, which can literally turn a spaceship into a bowl of petunias.
And a very surprised whale.
That is just such a great concept.
I know, and it really speaks to that core idea that anything can happen.
Oh, yeah.
Logic kind of goes out the window.
It makes you wonder if you could use the improbability drive.
Where would you go?
I don't even know. That's a tough one.
So many choices.
But for now, let's stick with Zaphod and head to Magrathea.
Magrathea, the birthplace of custom-made planets.
I mean, imagine ordering up a planet with the perfect mountains and oceans.
And you could have your own personalized sunset every night.
That's pretty great.
It really is the ultimate luxury.
But their trip to Magrathea isn't exactly smooth sailing.
Not at all.
They get chased by Vogon missiles.
Oh, no.
But thanks to the improbability drive, those missiles go through a bit of a change.
A bit of a change indeed.
That's what's so great about the improbability drive. 1 minute, you're facing certain doom the next minute.
Petunias and a whale.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think Adams was trying to say with that scene?
It makes you wonder, maybe even when things are chaotic and dangerous, there's still room for the unexpected.
And for beauty, even.
For beauty, even.
Well, speaking of absurd and beautiful, we can't forget about Millways.
There's always. Oh, yeah.
The restaurant at the end of the universe?
What a concept.
Dinner and a show with a front row seat to the end of existence. Would you make a reservation?
It would be quite an experience.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I'd rather enjoy the present
I get that.
than dwell on the inevitable end of everything.
That's fair. But here's something interesting. According to the guide, Earth got a 5-star rating
For what?
for its desserts.
Really?
So even facing the end of the universe, humanity's known for its sweet treats.
That's kind of fitting.
It is. But now let's take a little detour from the main story
Oh, detour.
and talk about the Golgafrinchans and their Ark fleet.
The Golgafrinchans. Okay, this should be good.
Yeah, they abandoned their whole planet, right?
Yeah, over this made-up disaster.
And they divided themselves into 3 arcs based on how useful they were.
Yeah, Arc A had all the leaders, the scientists, the artists, the thinkers.
And Arc C.
Arc C had the workers, the builders, the makers, the people who actually did things.
Right. But what about Arc B?
Ah, Arc B. That's where they put all this so-called useless middlemen.
Oh.
The telephone sanitizers, the marketing consultants, the hairdressers.
They thought they were expendable.
Exactly.
Irony.
And guess which Ark crashed on prehistoric Earth?
No way, Arc B.
Yep, full of all those supposedly useless middlemen.
It's like a giant cosmic joke.
It really is a satire on our social structures.
It makes you think about our own society and how we decide what jobs are valuable.
Right, because who knew that telephone sanitizers were so important to human history?
Right.
But while they were busy crashing on Earth, a supercomputer named Deep Thought was busy calculating.
Calculating the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything.
The big one.
And after 7.5 million years, Deep Thought came up with
42.
42.
Just a number seemingly meaningless,
Yeah.
but it's become this symbol for the search for meaning in a universe that doesn't always make sense.
But here's the thing. Nobody knows what the question is.
That's the real kicker.
And to think Earth was built to calculate that very question.
And who used to live on Earth?
Arthur Dent?
Arthur Dent. He might just hold the key to unlocking the ultimate question.
No wonder he's always stressed.
Yeah, can you imagine carrying that around with you?
Talk about pressure.
Well, let's talk about something a bit more lighthearted.
Okay, like what?
The babblefish.
Oh yeah, the babblefish.
One of the most amazing inventions in the book.
It's this little creature you put in your ear and it translates any language.
Any language in the universe.
Like a universal translator.
Right, your ear.
But here's a thought. If something as simple as the babblefish exists, why is everything else so complicated?
Good question. You know, maybe Adams is saying that while communication is important, real understanding takes more than just words.
Oh, that's deep.
It's about empathy and perspective and being willing to see things from different angles.
And that's just one of the many layers in this book.
So many layers, and we've only just scratched the surface. Remember Magrathea, the planet, where they actually make planets?
Oh yeah, it's like a planet factory.
They build them to order,
Yeah.
you can choose your own continents and oceans.
Like having the ultimate landscaping service.
Exactly. And there they meet Slartibartfast.
Slartibartfast.
He's this amazing planet designer. He was super proud of his work on Earth's fjords.
Especially the ones in Norway.
Especially those, yeah. It must be so incredible to be able to create entire worlds.
It's mind-blowing, really, the scale of it all.
I know, but in the middle of all this grand cosmic stuff, we meet this really interesting character.
Oh, who's that?
Wow Bagger, the infinitely prolonged.
Wowbagger, the infinitely prolonged.
Yeah, he's this immortal being, and his mission is to insult every single person in the universe.
And he's going in alphabetical order.
The alphabetical order, the whole thing.
That's hilarious and also kind of sad.
It is a little bit of both, isn't it? This immortal guy, and this is what he chooses to do.
I mean, he calls Arthur Dent a jerk.
Yep. It's a pretty classic wow bagger move.
It's so funny, but it also makes you think, what's the point of living forever?
Exactly. Big questions.
If you had all the time in the world, how would you spend it?
It's a good question, one that philosophers have been pondering for ages.
And while Arthur's dealing with an immortal insulter, Ford's off on his own adventure.
Oh, that's right.
He runs into this character called the marketing guru.
Oh, the marketing guru. Yeah, he's like the embodiment of everything wrong with consumerism.
Always trying to sell you something.
It doesn't even matter if you need it. He'll convince you that you do.
That's so true. It's like he's ripped right out of today's world.
It's scary how relevant it still is. We're constantly bombarded with ads and messages telling us what to buy.
It's like they're in our heads.
And Adams really gets at how manipulative advertising can be.
And through all of this, Ford discovers something new about the guide.
Oh, what's that?
There's a new edition, the Mark II.
The Mark II, it's not just an update. It's a whole new guide. Even more powerful.
How powerful are we talking here?
It can actually change reality.
Whoa, hold on. So it's not just a guidebook anymore.
Nope, it's like a cosmic control panel.
That's both amazing and terrifying.
It is, and unfortunately it falls into the wrong hands.
Oh no, who gets it?
The Vogons.
The Vogons, those poetry-loving, planet-demolishing Vogons.
You got it, and they're not exactly known for using their power responsibly.
So what do they want with the guy?
We don't know for sure, but it can't be good.
Ford seems pretty worried about it.
He is. It's up to him to try and get it back.
That sounds like a pretty dangerous mission.
It is. He has to infiltrate a Vogon facility. He barely escapes getting blown up, and then he uses a really unexpected tool to outsmart their security system.
What does he use?
The London speaking clock.
Wait, the London speaking clock?
Yep, he rigs it to call the Vogon ship over and over, racking up this insane phone bill.
So he's trying to bankrupt them.
Basically, it's pretty clever.
That's Ford for you, always thinking outside the box.
It's classic Adams, right? Hilarious, but also thought-provoking.
Because the guide in the wrong hands could be a really bad thing.
It could cause some serious damage.
A reminder that technology is powerful and we have to be careful how we use it.
But the big question is, does Ford manage to get the guide back?
And what about those cricket wars and the threat of universal annihilation?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting, because The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy doesn't really give us all the answers.
You're kidding. It's kind of a cliffhanger.
It is, but I think that's part of the appeal. You know, it keeps us guessing.
It makes you want to keep reading.
Exactly. And it reminds us that the universe is full of possibilities.
Some of those possibilities might be a little scary, like Vogon poetry and galactic war.
But that's all part of the adventure.
Meanwhile, Arthur's on a journey of his own. He's searching for something.
He's trying to find his place in the universe. You know what it all means.
He ends up on this planet called Lamuella.
Lemuel. It's about as different from Magrosay as you can get.
What's it like?
A simple world. They're not into technology. They live off the land, and they're really into sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Yeah. Arthur actually becomes their official sandwich maker.
I love that. So Arthur, this guy who's been through all this crazy stuff, finds peacemaking sandwiches.
It's pretty great. It shows that meaning and purpose aren't always about these grand adventures,
Sometimes the simple things are the most important.
like making a really good sandwich.
It makes you think.
So we left off with the cricket wars about to erupt, and Ford's trying to get that Guide Mark II back from the Vogons.
Yeah, things aren't looking so good.
And where does Arthur end up in all of this?
Well, he finds himself on this planet called Lamuella, and it's like the opposite of Magrathea. You know, very low tech.
Oh, wow. So what's it like there?
It's pretty simple. People live in harmony with nature, they farm, they have a strong community.
Sounds peaceful.
It is, and they're really into sandwiches.
Yeah, witches.
Yeah, Arthur actually became the official sandwich maker for one of the tribes.
That's amazing. So Arthur, this guy who started out as just a normal dude from Earth, ends up making sandwiches on some far-off planet.
It's kind of perfect.
Hmm.
You know, sometimes the most profound experiences come from the simplest things.
Yeah, it's like a reminder that meaning isn't always about these big adventures.
Sometimes it's about finding your place contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Even if that something is making sandwiches, even if it's sandwiches. But while Arthur's finding his groove on Lamuella, Ford's still dealing with the Vogons.
Oh, right, those guys.
Yeah, and they're not exactly easy to deal with.
I can imagine trying to get the guide back from them must be a nightmare.
It is. Ford has to break into this super secure Vogon facility. He almost gets blown up. It's a whole mess.
So how does he even manage to get past their security?
Well, he gets creative. He uses the London speaking clock.
The London speaking clock. What?
Yeah, he rigs it to call the Vogon ship constantly, like nonstop,
What for?
to run up their phone bill.
He's trying to bankrupt them.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
It's so crazy, it just might work.
That's Ford, for you always thinking outside the box.
It's such a classic Hitchhiker's moment,
Yeah.
you know? Funny, but also kind of scary because that Guide Mark II is really dangerous.
Oh, yeah. In the wrong hands, it could do some serious damage.
Makes you think about technology in general. You know, how even the most amazing inventions can be used for good or for evil.
It's all about who's controlling it.
Yeah.
But the question is, does Ford succeed?
Yeah. What happens with the guide and with those cricket wars?
Well, that's the thing. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy doesn't wrap everything up in a neat little bow.
Really? So it's kind of a cliffhanger.
It is, but in a way, I think that's what makes it so great.
How so?
It leaves us with questions. It keeps us thinking about these big ideas long after we've finished the book.
It's like the journey continues even after the story ends.
Exactly. And like Arthur found on Lamuella, sometimes the most important discoveries are the ones we make along the way.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with you.
It really has. We've covered so much, from the destruction of Earth to Vogon poetry to the search for the ultimate question.
We've met some amazing characters, learned some important lessons, and laughed a lot along the way.
And hopefully we've inspired our listeners to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that sense of wonder alive.
Because who knows what's out there waiting to be discovered?
Maybe the answer is 42.
But don't ask us what the question is.